Hello, dear friends. Today I am going to share a story that will leave you speechless. This is not just any story. It is a real incident that took place in Pakistan, one that has been passed down through generations, whispered from one person to another. At the heart of this tale is a young girl, deeply cherished by her parents. Her life was filled with love and innocence, but then something happened. An incident so shocking, so heartbreaking, that it changed everything. When you hear what she went through, it will send shivers down your spine, and by the end, you might find tears in your eyes. But beyond the emotions, this story carries powerful lessons. Lessons that every Muslim, and in fact, every human being, should take to heart. So I urge you to stay with me till the very end to uncover the truth and the wisdom hidden within this story. Before we dive in, a humble request to all our new viewers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support keeps us bringing more such meaningful stories to you. Now let's step into the heart of this mystery. There was a breathtakingly beautiful village in Pakistan, a place where nature's wonders were at their finest. Lush green fields stretched as far as the eye could see, rivers and canals flowed gently, and the air carried a peaceful serenity. Anyone who visited this village found it hard to leave. It was like a paradise on earth. But what made this village truly special was its people. They were kind-hearted, united, and deeply rooted in their faith. Islam was not just a religion here, it was a way of life. Families lived with honor, daughters respected their parents, and sons followed in their father's footsteps. There was no unnecessary mingling between boys and girls. Everyone upheld their values with pride. At the center of this village stood a wise and respected figure, a man of God, the Imam of the Grand Mosque. He was not just a preacher, he was a guide, a judge, and a protector of the village's harmony. His words carried great weight, and people looked up to him with deep reverence. Whenever conflicts arose, it was he who settled them with fairness and wisdom. Under his watchful guidance, the village remained peaceful, untouched by the chaos of the outside world. But then, one day, something happened, something that shattered this peace. And it all revolved around that young girl. Because the people of the village followed the teachings of Islam with sincerity, the Imam deeply loved and respected them. In return, the villagers held immense devotion for him, treating his words as sacred. He was not just their religious guide, but also their mentor in life's decisions. Whether it was a joyous occasion or a time of hardship, he stood by them, leading them with wisdom and justice. But now, dear friends, let's get to the real story. In that very village, there lived a man of immense wealth and status, Shamim Sahib. He lacked nothing: land, business, riches. He had it all. Everyone in the village admired and respected him. Whenever he walked through the streets, people greeted him with reverence. He had even performed Hajj, further elevating his honor among the people. However, there was one treasure Shamim Sahib valued more than anything: his beloved daughter, Sanjida. She was his only child, the apple of his eye. Not only was she breathtakingly beautiful, but she was also highly intelligent and excelled in her studies. At college, everyone admired her, and she carried herself with a sense of superiority. But this admiration slowly turned into arrogance. Sanjida's pride grew so much that she never greeted anyone first. She always expected others to greet her. She looked down on her teachers, believing herself to be above them simply because she came from wealth and power. She lived with the mindset that money could command respect and no one dared to correct her. But dear friends, arrogance is a dangerous path. It blinds a person to reality, and sooner or later, it leads to destruction. And then, an incident took place that changed Sanjida's life forever. One day, her father called her with a proud smile and said, "Sanjida, I have wonderful news for you." Curious, she asked, "What is it, Baba?" He replied mysteriously, "I have prepared a special gift for you. Are you ready to receive it?" Sanjida, now even more eager, said, "Tell me, what is it?" But instead of answering, her father smiled and said, "Go ask your mother." With excitement and curiosity, Sanjida rushed to her mother and asked, "Mom, what is this gift that Baba is talking about?" Her mother, with a calm yet serious expression, said, "Your father has chosen a groom for you. Tomorrow his family is coming to see you. If they like you, we will finalize the wedding." Sanjida's heart sank. She stood frozen in shock. "What? How can you decide this without even asking me?" she demanded, her voice trembling with anger and disbelief. Her mother sighed and said, "Your father is getting older, Sanjida. He wants to see you settled with a good man before it's too late." Sanjida's world turned upside down in an instant. She had always been in control, always held power over others. But now, her own fate was being decided without her consent. And this was just the beginning. Sanjida's father had carefully chosen a righteous and pious young man for her. He was a man of strong faith, devoted to his prayers, and deeply respected in his community. His family was set to visit their home the next day to meet Sanjida. "Be mentally prepared," her mother told her. "This is a decision made for your own good." Sanjida, still shocked, felt a storm of emotions raging inside her. She was not ready, yet she knew she had little choice. Lying in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, she thought deeply. What should I do? Should I rebel, or should I accept my parents' decision? After much thought, she came to a resolution. If I like the boy, I will agree to the marriage. The next morning, her father went to the market, returning with fruits, fish, and meat. The house was buzzing with activity as preparations for the guests began. The aroma of freshly cooked meals filled the air as Sanjida's mother worked tirelessly in the kitchen. Then, the awaited moment arrived. The guests, Sanjida's potential in-laws, entered the house. Her father greeted them warmly and led them inside. Conversations flowed, tea was served, and pleasantries were exchanged. But amidst the laughter and discussions, tension built up. Finally, the time came. "Please bring your daughter so we can meet her," said the groom's father. Sanjida's heart pounded as she stepped into the room. The air felt heavy, every eye was on her. And then, it happened. With just one glance at her, the young man, S., was captivated. His eyes lit up, admiration evident on his face. He was a man of faith, with a well-kept beard and deep devotion to Islam. Sanjida's father had always dreamed of finding such a righteous husband for his daughter. "MashaAllah, we really like your daughter," said S's father. "If you agree, we can finalize the wedding date today." Without hesitation, the families agreed, and the date was set. Next Friday. The news spread like wildfire, and soon the entire village was preparing for the grand wedding. Happiness filled the air. The house was decorated with lights, laughter echoed through the rooms, and smiles adorned every face. As the special day arrived, the groom and his entourage arrived in style. S stepped out of the car, dressed immaculately, carrying a diamond ring, ready to begin his new life with Sanjida. Friends and family gathered, their faces glowing with joy. The nikah was performed with great celebration, and then the moment came. Sanjida, now a bride, stood before her father one last time, before leaving for her new home. With teary eyes, she whispered, "Father, please pray for me. May Allah bless my new life and keep me happy till the very end." Her father held her hands tightly, his heart heavy, yet content. And with that, she stepped into a new chapter of her life, unaware that fate still had something unexpected in store for her. Tears welled up in Sanjida's father's eyes as he held her hands for the last time before she left. "Of course, my daughter," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I pray that your life is filled with happiness and blessings." With heavy hearts, they bid farewell. Sanjida stepped into the carriage beside her husband S. and left her father's home, stepping into a new life. As she arrived at her in-laws' house, excitement filled the air. Everyone rushed to see the new bride, and gasps of admiration echoed through the room. "MashaAllah, she's stunning," someone said. S is so lucky to have found such a beautiful wife, another added. Sanjida blushed as she received compliments from every corner. Her husband, S, stood proudly beside her, overwhelmed with happiness. He had married the girl of his dreams, the girl everyone adored. For a while, everything seemed perfect. But dear friends, as time passed, something changed. S was a hard-working businessman. His shop was his life, and he spent long hours there, ensuring his business thrived. Every morning he left early and returned home late at night, sometimes as late as 10 p.m. He was providing for his family, but in doing so, he unintentionally neglected the one person who needed him most, Sanjida. At first, she tolerated it. She waited for him, hoping things would change. But as days turned into months and months into years, resentment grew in her heart. One night, as S walked through the door, exhausted from work, he was met with an unexpected storm. Sanjida stood before him, her eyes filled with frustration and sorrow. "You stay in that shop all day, but what about me?" she cried. "You never give me time. You never ask how I feel. I wish I had known my life would turn out like this. I would have never married you." S was taken aback. "What are you saying, Sanjida?" he asked, confused. "I'm saying the truth," she snapped. "Marrying you has ruined my life. I was a princess in my father's house, and here I am nothing but a servant. I didn't want this kind of life. I didn't want this. My happiness is gone. I feel lonely. There is no one in this world who understands me. And now, I have made up my mind." S's heart pounded as he saw the determination in her eyes. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I am leaving," she said coldly. "I don't want to be a part of your family anymore. I will go back to my father's house. I don't like your home, your family. I can't breathe here. I want freedom." Sanjida's words were like daggers to his heart. He stood there in shock, unable to believe what was happening. His wife, the woman he had loved so dearly, wanted to leave him forever. That night, S lay awake, his heart heavy with sorrow. He had given his all to provide for his family, yet he had lost the one thing that mattered most. The next morning, as S was preparing to leave for his shop, Sanjida called out to him in a cold, firm voice. "Go to your shop," she said. "But when you return, you won't find me here. I'm leaving for my father's house, forever. I will never step into this house again. Divorce me." S turned around, stunned. "Are you out of your mind?" he asked in disbelief. Sanjida's eyes burned with anger. "I am perfectly sane. Either you divorce me, or I will do it myself." A deep silence filled the room. S couldn't believe what he was hearing. Was this the same woman he once loved? The same woman who once dreamed of a happy life with him? Before he could say another word, Sanjida stormed into the bedroom, packed her bags, and left without looking back. When she arrived at her father's house, her father looked at her with concern. "What happened, my child? Why have you come home so suddenly?" Tears filled Sanjida's eyes, but her voice was unwavering. "I will not go back there, father. I don't like that house. I don't like S. I am your only daughter. Let me stay here with you forever. Won't you take care of me? Won't you let me eat from your table?" Her father's heart ached for his daughter. Instead of guiding her back to her home, he nodded. "My princess, everything I have is yours. If you are not happy there, then you will stay here. I will end your relationship with S tomorrow." But dear friends, this was a mistake. Sanjida's father, out of love, supported her decision instead of helping her see reason. And that one decision would change everything. 3 years passed. Sanjida, once a proud and beloved daughter, found herself entangled in a new relationship with another man. Soon the entire village whispered about her affairs. People pointed fingers, they gossiped, they judged. Her reputation was destroyed. When word of the scandal reached her father's ears, his heart shattered. He confronted Sanjida. "Tell me, my daughter, is it true? Have you really done this?" Sanjida did not lower her gaze. "Yes, father," she admitted. Her father's hands trembled. "This is unacceptable. You must change your ways before it's too late, or this will end in disaster." Desperate to save his daughter, he called the young man and urged him to break ties with Sanjida. The boy, fearing the consequences, stepped away. But that rejection was the final blow. Sanjida, unable to bear the pain, made a chilling decision. One evening, when the house was silent and the world seemed to turn away from her, she tied a rope and ended her own life. The news of her death spread like wildfire. When people arrived to see her lifeless body, shock and horror filled their hearts. The once beautiful Sanjida had turned dark. Her once radiant face was unrecognizable. And then, dear friends, something even more terrifying happened. When they took her to the graveyard to bury her, an unexplainable sight awaited them. As soon as the grave was prepared, swarms of snakes and scorpions appeared, covering the grave. Fear gripped everyone. A second grave was dug. Again, the same horror. Snakes slithered inside as if waiting for her. A third grave was dug, and the same thing happened. It was only after multiple attempts that she was finally buried, but with the creatures still present. People whispered in fear. This was no coincidence, it was a warning. Dear friends, life is a test. Sanjida had everything, a loving family, a husband, and a home, but she lacked patience. She chose anger over understanding, rebellion over guidance, and in the end she paid the ultimate price. Allah has warned us. Suicide is a great sin. And what happened after her death serves as a chilling reminder of the consequences. May Allah protect us all from such a fate, and grant us the wisdom to walk the right path. Ameen. Dear friends, if this story moved you, please like this video, share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe. There is a lesson for all of us here. Let us learn from it before it's too late.